Welcome back to the first Adobe game show, probably the first one, I'm not entirely sure, where people win by drawing. I hope you're having a great morning today. I know I am. It's going to be a really exciting one. If you notice, I have my microphone all set up here because I lost the real one somewhere in my room, or because of budget cuts. We'll say it's budget cuts. Today, we have an exciting challenge and an even more exciting guest. All the way from sunny Dallas, we have Sarah Sun. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jacob. I'm super excited to be here and yeah, participate in this challenge today.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a ton of fun. I was really excited to have you on. I'm really excited to kind of show people the magic that you cook up when you have your own prompts. And if you haven't checked out their Instagram or any of their work, you definitely should because it's a good time. I love your work 100% and I love the characters that you make. So, yeah.
Yeah, super excited. I feel like I haven't drawn like in a shorter time span in a while, so I'm super excited for the challenge.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Hopefully, no stress. We're all here to have fun. The points are arbitrary. We're really here just to be friends and have fun and do cool stuff. As you
Yeah.
know, we gave you a bit of a rundown before this started. There are going to be some objectives for you to finish. Number one, you get a point if you finish the design today. Again, no pressure if you don't. It happens. We've all been there. Number two, we want you to create a mock up if that's possible. Again, that's a bit of a process, and we will see how much time we have because it's a lot of pressure. And then number three, the most important, is hopefully if you have a good time, you get a point. So hopefully it'll be fun and nice. We also have some questions for you pertaining to either your Instagram or your design process that we'll get into a little bit later. And of course, my favorite part, we have our secret objectives. These are objectives that, of course, our guest, Sarah, cannot see. They'll be displayed on screen right now. So hopefully you guys can see them and kind of get an idea of what our objectives, what our goals are for today. But, if Sarah gets any of these objectives, you'll hear this sound right now. And yeah, I think we've done enough explaining. I think um, it's going to be a fun time. I should probably tell you what the challenge is. That would probably make a lot of sense, huh?
Yes, that would be great.
So your challenge today is to create a mascot and or a brand for this word combination, which is campfire. Kind
Ooh,
of
okay,
kind of
cool.
simple. Kind of works out for the wintry time, right? I mean, I don't know if people are doing campfires in the winter, but anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and pop us over to our drawing screen. I feel ready. Do you feel ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm super excited.
All right, I've got 50 minutes on the clock. I'm gonna go ahead and get us started in three, two, one, go.
Okay, cool. So because it's campfire, I am going to draw a mascot as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I'm gonna use text to vector because lately I've been using that for like posing references.
Oh,
I
okay.
find that like I don't know, I always have trouble with posing like creatures and stuff and
Yeah, yeah,
animals
yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So I feel like having a pose reference would be super helpful. And so I'm trying to think like nature stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
something like in that realm.
Yeah, a bear I feel like is a good go-to. I've actually been doing a lot of teddy bears, so maybe teddy bear sitting at a campfire
I really
roast.
like. There's a T-shirt you did actually. I think you wore it to Adobe Max when we were
Oh yeah.
spoiler hanging out at Adobe Max. I think you designed, right? That was the
Yes.
cowboy teddy bear.
Yeah, it was the phrase was called Boot Scootin' Boogie Bears, and it
So
was just
cute.
of cowboy teddy bears. Yeah, I feel like I've been in like a big teddy bear era. They're just like fun to draw.
I think that's a good era to be in. We all need a little bit of like extra love and you know huggableness. I will say
Yeah.
this text to vector is really interesting to me because
Mm.
I also struggle with posing. I think
Mm.
for me, I didn't have any formal art training, so
Mm.
it I don't understand perspective as well as I would like to and things like that. And I think a lot of graphic designers probably relate to this a little bit. So seeing this text to vector kind of like working inside of Illustrator is really interesting. When do you feel like you implemented this in your workflow?
I think when it first came out was when I implemented it. I
Hmm.
was like, it's gonna be so helpful. And then I've yeah, just kind of been using it since then.
So cool. I'm
Yeah.
liking this already. The cute little marshmallow is killing me.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Okay. I'm thinking of doing something more like loosely camping vibe. I'll do
Mm-hmm.
bear reading a map wearing a hiking backpack
Love
and some
that.
photos. And I think if I do bear instead of teddy bear, it'll be a little more anatomically realistic because I think the teddy bear
Yeah.
is like a little oversimplified, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, that's so
Dude.
sick. Wow.
Oh, this one's good. This one would be good. Okay, I'll pull this one to the side. And I'll maybe just do like two more generations because I want to get into drawing pretty quickly here.
This is I feel like this is a pretty powerful tool, like all things considered. Like I've
Yeah,
never
yeah,
used it before. Like
yeah. And then I usually set the setting. You can do like I think there's like a detail slider where you can do max or minimum, and I always do max.
oh,
That way it's just the most detailed, and then I can like stylize it from there in my own style.
absolutely. I mean, do you feel like you lean more towards realism or like cartoonified with your style?
A little bit more cartoony, I'd say. So
Mm-hmm.
like this, I'll like simplify it a ton, and I'll just use it basically as the overall like tracing reference, I guess.
Absolutely. I think what's cool
Yeah.
about this too, in my opinion, is I think that, there's always like a weird fine line with like pulling reference and like trying to figure
Mm,
out the best way to grab reference without biting anyone or without it feeling weird. And at least for me, in my opinion, I'm sure people in the audience
yeah.
may agree that this kind of feels like a cool way to just get a jumping off point. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the most important part, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's super, super helpful.
So it looks
Okay.
like we're over in Photoshop now. We're bouncing between programs.
Yeah. Yeah, I always draw in Photoshop. I just can't do the pen tool for I feel like my style is very loose. So I just prefer Photoshop because it's, very loose.
I totally understand. I feel like as I've started designing more and more, I have
Mm,
been, um, I guess, loosening up. I used to be very vector, very straight. Like I loved like everything being proportionate. But the more I play around with like, the more I play with Fresco and Photoshop or anything like that, like I like using stylus. I don't like using
mhm.
the mouse anymore. I have a little bit more
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely the same.
This is so cool. I already love the application of how you're kind of going in and changing it up like different a little bit of different textures and kind of fitting more of like a scruffy vibe than the sharp vibe that's
Yeah.
going on with it.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. It's so tricky though, drawing in such a time crunch. I'm like, oh gosh, this is gonna be
Oh yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah, it definitely feels a little stressful. I mean, and I think that even with some of these live shows that it can feel kind of, I guess, like, oh man, I just want to get the project done, but I definitely want people to feel rewarded for the
Yeah.
progress that they made, right? Because, it's I feel like half of drawing is the process, right? The journey of
Mhm.
getting to the end point. Sometimes the
Yeah.
final product is like, that's all, I like it, but it was so much more fun getting there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think as well, like it's a good, I don't know, I think it's just good practice to draw like with a time frame. Like, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you ever took art classes and had to do those like timed like thumbnail drawings or gestural drawings
Mm-hmm.
of still lifes or whatever it may be. And it was always good to just like get a loose feel by doing that.
100%. I think what's interesting about that too is there's a kind of like a conversation to be had where I'm trying to think of how to word this specifically, but where getting out all ideas is good. I think we've talked about
Mhm.
this like in our group in general, just like bad ideas, good ideas, everything. You need to be putting everything either on the paper or proverbial paper, Illustrator, Photoshop,
Mhm.
just to get those ideas out there. Because if you're not drawing constantly and if you're not at least trying to get bad ideas out too, you're going to constantly be holding yourself to a standard to make good art every single time you sit down. And that's just like not how it is at all.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good to embrace all the impurities for sure.
Absolutely. And there's so many times I've sat down at my iPad or on Illustrator and spent like 3.5 hours drawing something and then just scrapping it because I'm like, this is garbage. And it's
Yeah.
fine, like it's just the exercise of drawing.
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't ride a bike for an hour and then say, "Oh man, well, I guess I'm worse at riding a bike because I didn't ride it perfectly today." Or like maybe swimming. Maybe that's a better
Yeah.
analogy. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel
So,
it's fun. This is so random, but I feel recently my husband told me I like don't know how to get off a bike properly. Like I learned how to ride a bike, but I don't know how to get off the bike
wait,
properly when I stop. I'm like, what?
that's a
I know. I'm
really
like, he's like, you lift both legs over at the same time while the bike is still motion, and you just like,
I feel
I'm
like
like,
that's how I
what?
do it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe. Or you can just stop and kind of like topple over a little bit, right? I
yeah,
mean, as long
yeah,
as you're not falling off, I feel like that makes the
yeah,
most sense, right?
yeah. I think so.
You're making some really nice progress on this already, and we're only, let me see, we're only 8 minutes in. So
Okay,
you're crushing
okay,
it.
that's good.
I'm really
I
curious actually to talk about like your process and I guess generally, how you got started or like where you got started and what's
mm,
influencing your style now because looking at your progression through your work, like it seems like you've progressed so much over so many years and gone through really amazing styles and, I guess finding your thing, right?
mm. Oh man, I think like I feel like my style has developed by just like trying tons and tons of different stuff. Like when I was in college, I did like photography classes, illustration classes. We even had like a bookbinding workshop.
Oh,
And
that's
I think
sick.
yeah, it was so fun. And I think my style is strongly influenced by like mixed media and multimedia and
Mhm.
combining all those passions together. Um, yeah, I like any sort of project where I can utilize like photography somehow. And even like with Instagram, like video editing is something I love. And I actually minored in cinematic arts. So to be able to
Wow.
combine all of that stuff together, I think that's how my style evolved, I guess, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I
Um,
mean, and you see it, right? Like I think that's the coolest thing about having public portfolios is like the amount of mixed media you've been doing lately, like
mm,
the short form videos, I think is so interesting and also something that I just can't quite wrap my brain around. It just
yeah,
seems difficult.
it is a lot of work, but and it's just like trial and error, like developing your style and doing mixed media and all that stuff. And I like it because I think mixed media like kind of hides the imperfections because I
Mhm.
am like I would consider myself to be a little like sloppy in my work in the best way possible. And so I think that's why I like mixed media because it just hides the imperfections, I guess.
Yeah, and it rewards that, right? It rewards
Mm,
that kind of I almost want to say like realness, right? The
mm,
realness of design and creating and kind of making mistakes and stuff. Like I
yeah.
think that's so cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Personally, I see that we're moving into another brush here. Do you have a
Yeah.
specific rhyme or reason in your brush choices? Like, did you build your own brushes?
No, I do really want to build my own brushes. Um, I just like anything that's textured, and then I've been really into halftones, so if we get the chance,
Mm,
hopefully I'll shade this with some halftones. And I am gonna add, I think, in a minute here, I might jump back and forth because I don't want to
yeah,
spend all the time drawing and then we run out of time, but I
sure.
might jump into Illustrator in a minute and add some text and then bring it in here.
We're delegating our time
Yeah.
better, better than ever. I love it. I mean, and I think this is so sweet. Like I'm looking at it on my second monitor over here, and the I'm getting like the full quality. Like I'm on this like widescreen, so I can kind of look at it close up, probably closer than our viewers can see. But if you're on your phone, zoom in. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like the
Nice.
little wiggly texture that's going on. It looks very like inked.
Yeah, yeah, I do like that. I also really like if we hopefully have time, I really like to add like a displacement map to the line work just to add even like more
Ooh,
texture. That's always
man,
fun.
I am learning things today. I am learning how this process goes. This is so sweet,
Yeah. And
man.
then I don't know if you've used the threshold tool in Photoshop, but that one's really fun. It can like just bleed the lines a little bit further.
Mm,
I
I
really
think
think
I've
it's fun.
used the threshold tool for text, like to make it kind of look
Okay.
like inked. like
Yeah,
inks
yeah, yeah.
text, which I found
I
pretty
like doing that.
interesting.
Mm,
So we're talking about all these tools. So I think that is a perfect segue to your first question,
okay.
which is pertaining to you. This is going to be your first, I guess, non main objective, non secret objective point. And this is actually pertaining to a video that you did pretty
Mm,
recently.
okay.
So there was a video you made highlighting generative recolor, something that we all love, that we
Yes.
really enjoy. And you created a juice brand that I thought was
Oh,
very
yeah.
interesting. My question is, what was the name of that juice brand?
I think it was Good Juju.
Yeah. Point
That
number
was
one on the
a kind of a
board.
hard question, honestly, because that was a while ago, I think. I was like,
It
dang, you're
was, I
pulling
think
from
so.
like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So they get a little progressively harder, I will say, but you nailed that one. So that's great. You're on the board. If you have some secret objectives, you might have already been on the board. But
Okay.
great job. Yeah, I feel like I barely remember what I posted yesterday. So
Yeah,
like
same.
honestly, it's that's pretty sweet. Did you cuz you do a lot of physical product making if people aren't familiar with your work or aren't familiar with what I'm referencing with that good juju design, do you like have a space in your house where you like have all of these like products kind of like displayed? Cuz I feel like it'd be cool.
I do want to do that right now. I have them in this big like tub of like Sarah's art and design projects just to
That's
kind of
so
like,
cute.
I don't know, preserve them or whatever. But yeah, I think it would be nice. My office is getting so
Yeah.
filled with like random crap that I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah. But that would be really cool to have like a nice shelf with them all displayed.
I mean, I feel like the stuff you've been doing is so cool cuz like at least from what I understand, a lot of it's conceptual, right? It's not necessarily
Yeah.
for a brand, it's just from your brain.
Yes.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. Like, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
I know. I feel like it's a good way to like stay inspired is like if you're not getting any like I've never done mixed media work that's been paid. Like I've never done like mixed
Mm.
media animations really or anything. I usually get paid to do like branding and packaging exclusively.
Hmm.
And if I get sick of that, then I can just do a personal project with mixed media or whatever because
Hmm.
nobody's telling me no, nobody's telling me what to do or anything.
That's
So,
so interesting because, like, I feel like when I think of you as an artist, and I hope this isn't offensive, but I think we all kind of had this like association with work, right? Like, I think of your product design. Like, I messaged you about product design, like trying to learn about it more and your experience with product design. So to think that that's like the passion project, not the pay project, is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of fun, very telling, maybe for some viewers. Like, do
yeah.
what you love, like that'll reward you, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Yeah. And
I think
I
I,
think what
sorry,
you
go
put
ahead.
out is, I was just gonna say, I think what you put out is like, what you get. Like once you start putting that stuff out there, you'll get more and more inquiries for that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
as long as you're having fun too with art, right? Because you don't want to feel burnt out. You don't want to be doing anything that's like, I'm doing it for the views or anything. It's just boring. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of boring.
Yeah, I think so.
I love where this teddy bear, or I guess camping bear, is going. It's so cute. Oh, I see halftones.
Yes. Yeah, I love the
Okay.
half tones. I'll try to do
Man,
this quick and then we'll jump to something
this is
else.
so sweet. I think I need to start drawing in Photoshop. This is
It's
convincing me.
fun, yeah. The one thing I don't know how to do, and I should know how to do is, well, I know you can rotate the canvas,
Mm-hmm.
but I do find it hard that I can't like, because you know how you need to get the nice
Mm-hmm.
swooping motion. It's a little like tricky, but maybe I could set it up with my tablet so I have a shortcut to like rotate the canvas.
Yeah, I think there's got to be like a shortcut or
Sure,
something to be able
I'm
to
sure there
do that.
is. Yeah,
Huh. That's interesting.
yeah,
I mean, but it's looking great. Like I love the application of, I guess, where how far we've come already, and it's been, only a couple minutes, and you know we're already from the concept to this being a full kind of cool design. I like the idea of the halftones too because it would make it really interesting for like printing, like,
yeah,
in any concept, like give it some
yeah.
nice texture.
I think so. Okay,
So cool.
I'll show so this is line work. We'll label our
Oh,
layers here.
wow.
Yep.
Labeling the line or
I
labeling the
know.
layers.
I
Braver
normally
than
don't do
me.
that. And then
Oh,
we'll
this
add
is so cute.
Where is the threshold?
I'm
So
obsessed.
this is a nice way. So I'll add one thing I have such a bad habit of is I just go to the help bar for everything. Like literally
Oh, I
everything.
mean,
Like,
I don't
which
think
is
that's
such
a
a
bad
bad habit.
habit. That's good to, because you know how I figure out where something is? You're going to laugh at me.
What's that?
I open up a tab, I go to YouTube, and I Google, how do you make this shape? Or
Dude,
how do you, every
that's
time.
funny.
It's
Oh
so
no.
bad.
That's funny. I mean, it's a good way to like reinforce where it is, you know.
Definitely. It also looks a little cleaner for stuff like this if you're not Googling a YouTube video on how to do it.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? It looks like you're adding some like Gaussian blur. You doing that displacement map you were talking about?
Yeah, so first I'm doing the like adding a threshold.
Mm-hmm.
So let me put, this is kind of a complicated process, but basically, you add a Gaussian blur to the
Mm-hmm.
line work and then a
Mm-hmm.
threshold over top, and that kind of blurs the lines. So like if you see his leg where it kind of joins here, the ink is kind of bleeding and it
Mm-hmm.
just makes it look like, yeah, like the ink was bleeding. That way I don't need to color in like every little corner to mimic an ink bleed. And then I just selected that color and I'm gonna put it back in here. Oops,
Wow.
it doesn't want to paste in place. So this will be new line work. And then this is just that like open asset. And then we'll do halftone.
Oh man, this is so sweet.
And I do also like having the halftone a little bit displaced, like not
Yeah.
perfectly colored in. I do like doing that.
I think that
Um,
adds a lot to the textured cuteness of it. Like I don't know if that's the word for it, but like I don't know, like the hand drawn feel to it. Like that's so interesting.
yeah, yeah, I like it.
I'm just gonna plug my phone up here for a second for those viewers see me reaching around because I my phone is dying.
Oh
It's an
no.
early morning for us, but we definitely don't want to run out or not know what our time is. That would be embarrassing.
All
Okay,
right, I will. Okay, I'm gonna head to Illustrator now
great.
and add some type, and then I'll bring the type back into Photoshop to like add texture to it.
Gosh, look how far we've come though already. Already.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil the time, but you're not even halfway through. You have so much
Okay.
time.
Okay, that's good. Now I feel like I rushed a little too much. I should have added more detail, but that's
No,
okay.
no, it
We've
looks
got like tons of
amazing.
stuff working.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I've
I
got
think
some
you're
of
doing
my,
great.
thank you. I've got some of my favorite fonts here. Uh,
Mm.
I kind of like this one.
Oh.
I feel like the hard edges kind of mimic logs and like
Mm-hmm.
rugged
Mm-hmm.
vibes. Let's see.
I've been using this font a lot. Like
It's
a
a good font.
lot. I
I
downloaded
like
it a couple days ago because I'm trying to
Uh-huh.
make some greetings cards, like some thank you cards and birthday cards, and they just look it looks so naturally hand drawn. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's nice. Yeah,
Like
I do
I
like
love
it.
it. You know, now that you're working with fonts, I think that is a great segue into your next question involving
Okay.
you. This one, of course, involves fonts and actually is the hardest question, but this is a natural progression. Okay. This is something that we're, it feels like this is a natural thing. We're talking about fonts, we're in fonts, so we might as well ask the question.
Okay.
Um, of course, as us as designers, we love fonts, we love specific fonts. So, my question for you is what is the font that shows up the most on your Instagram feed?
Probably Oh No Softy, which is literally the first one on my list. I'm like, Oh No Softy bold.
You
It's
nailed it.
just yeah. Oh, did you actually like
Oh, I
that?
counted.
That's
I
funny.
counted. So I
Oh my
think
God.
the second most viewed was
Uh-huh.
Cooper Nouveau or
Oh,
Nouveau.
I like that one too. I think
Uh
I have it here.
yeah,
Is it
right. Yeah, I think it's the one above
oh,
it, if I'm not
oh, oh
mistaken.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, that one.
Yeah. So that one was 10 times. And the
Nice.
Ono Softy, I believe, was 12. So it was really close. It was a really hard one, but you nailed it.
Yeah. Nice.
It's
Yay.
perfect.
So funny.
I like this little texture that you're adding. Oh, sorry, I should probably also
Yeah.
add another point on the board. we're further in. I like the little sparkle that you're adding, and like the you have the what's the Wow. The like distort kind of thing where you have it kind of on a
Oh,
banner shape
with a
for the
slant?
text.
I don't even
Yeah.
know.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it would be called,
I don't know either, honestly.
but it looks great. And the stroke around it too to kind of give some separation. Man,
Yeah, I think so.
nailing it.
And I might like retrace this in Photoshop just so it matches the style.
Mm.
Maybe even like color it in with a halftone.
Oh, so you're saying like with your tablet.
I think so, yeah. Because if I just do the type just in Photoshop or in Illustrator and then drop
Mm-hmm.
it in, I feel like it feels very vector and then the illustration feels very
Mm-hmm.
textured. So I try to like rework it in Photoshop if that makes sense.
It does. Excuse me while I take notes because I never thought of that. I kind of just
Yeah.
throw it on there and do it all in the same program. But that's smart. I think that consistency is important. Like
Yeah, I
it
think
helps a
so.
lot.
Okay, so here I'm just doing a blend, like making it 3D. So you do object, blend, and for blend options, I just did 80 steps. You want to do a lot of steps so that
Mm-hmm.
it's not like choppy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you click make, and then you get that. And I'll do that for the stars too.
So
Mm.
sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm learning so much. Like I feel like I have my own style of how I design and how I do
Yeah.
things. I think we all do, right? And
Yeah.
watching your process, I'm just like, man, maybe I should be like trying something a little different.
It's so fun watching people's processes. I'm like, oh, I had no, like sometimes I'm like, wow, I was doing it so wrong. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know if you know Adam, the illustrator,
Of
right?
course. I was about to bring
In
him
all
up.
his videos, I'm like, why am I doing everything completely wrong? Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
just like proves me like wrong with everything. I'm like, dang, he knows how to do things properly.
You know, another person, great example for that type of stuff is Cody Banks.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. The way that he
Hmm.
draws freaks me out. Just the
Yeah,
stroke and the fill, I'm just like, how?
yeah,
How? It's
yeah. He's
crazy.
he's really good.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I
Oh, you're
might
getting a
add,
little saying with it too?
yeah,
Nice.
ordinary doors, and then maybe I'll say since 2024.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh, maybe we should just make this a brand. Cut the cameras.
Yeah.
Everyone, we're copywriting this. This is going to be our new camping brand, Campfire. I say ours, you did all the work. I'm just here.
Oh, you're bringing the vibes.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. So, just to let you know, Sarah, we are halfway through. We're officially at that halfway point. Hopefully,
Okay,
it's not too stressful, but
we're
we're
getting
getting
there.
some good progress here. I'm seeing.
Actually, let's just use the classic oh no
Oh no,
softy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So sweet. I love it. I mean, I feel like personally for me, I have a hard time breaking out of my mold when it comes to not using the same
Oh, it's
stuff
tricky.
over and over because it just feels so good, like you're like this is my thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's not something to feel bad about because I think it like helps establish your brand and your vibe.
Definitely.
Like, so I think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Absolutely. I think one thing I've been trying to do this year, and it also, not to date this airing, but in 2025, one of the things that I really, really would like to do is I would like to kind of explore more options because I think that I locked myself into this cage a little bit of what my style is. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't even really consider myself an established artist. I would consider myself like kind of an explorer, someone that's kind of figuring out their style.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to experiment with that. Like, I don't want to put these artificial boundaries on myself because I want to mimic this other person that's established, right? Because they're already established. Like
Mm.
for me, I kind of just want to do something different. I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know. Just
I
kind of
think
see
you're
where it
very
goes.
established though,
You
like
think
in
so?
but yeah, I think so.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think when I say established, maybe more, I mean, because I don't want to undersell myself by any stretch. I mean, I'm hosting this little show that we're doing right now, so we got
Yeah.
something going on. But I think more of what I mean is I don't think I found my thing with
Yeah.
physical art yet. I don't know if I have like an MO other than maybe like my eyes. I think people recognize me for my eyes, but
Yeah, that's cool.
I want like to do stationery or I want to like, do wood paintings or I want to do something physical, right? I think that's as digital artists something we all want kind of probably. So
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that to me at Adobe Max. I think
Mm.
that would be cool. Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. It'd be
I
some
hope
fun
so.
stuff. Do you have any projects on the pipeline for yourself that you're kind of like leaning towards? You kind of just seeing what
Um,
comes?
a little. I mean, I like obviously want to do like more mixed media stuff for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I recently found these places in Dallas where you can, sorry, I'm like focusing on both. I
No,
found
no,
these
you're
places
okay.
in Dallas where you can do like photo, it's like Airbnb but for photo shoots and it's
Mm-hmm.
like a whole crazy set. So I went to this place that was like a full on like dollhouse vibes, like super
Oh,
immersive.
that's fun.
Yeah, and so my husband and I took a bunch of photos there, and I'm gonna make it into like mixed media animations, and I think I can maybe get like 4 reels out of it. But it was so fun. I took like photos and animations and video and all of
That's
that.
so
So I
cool.
want to do like more of that next year, I think.
Yeah, kind of like breaking out of the what's the word? Like out of the studio, kind of getting outside, doing some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that's awesome.
And maybe I don't know if I maybe do YouTube. I say that all the time though.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe want to get back into that, but it's such a big challenge.
That's the dreaded crux for all of us, right? Like wanting to do
Yeah.
YouTube so bad, but it's
Mhm.
tough. Like it's hard to, especially on the creator side. And I'm saying this more in like not to make an excuse, but to be very admirable of the people that are on YouTube right now that are doing what we want to do to
Mm.
design and then put on kind of like I guess a personality and then edit all that down like after everything is said and done. Like it's one thing to get the motivation to draw and get things going and have the ideas, but like editing, the
Yeah, oh, I know.
worst.
Yeah. Have you ever considered getting like an editor? I feel like that could be
I
nice.
have. I'm actually talking to someone right now about
Oh,
editor
cool.
stuff, but we've been bouncing around so much, me and my wife, and you have too, like with Adobe and all that stuff. We've been floating around and having all these projects that it's hard to kind of sit down and work on personal projects. But again, I think
Yeah.
that's next, like I say next this year, like 2025. Like I think that's the time to explore, right? Things
Mm.
aren't getting any easier. We're not getting any younger. Like
Yeah.
a lot less manifesting and a lot more just like going for it and doing it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Super cool.
oh yeah. So, are we using a different brush for this campfire style, or are you using the same brush as you use for the
So
bear?
using the same brush. So I
Mm-hmm.
think if I have time, I'll add like displacement, some sort of texture to these just to kind
Mm-hmm.
of tie them in. But I just masked out the teddy bear's feet here just so the information isn't like conflicting, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't
I
know if I
like that
like that
it's kind
much.
of clipping into it. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
definitely utilizes that space really well.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I'm just gonna with this one, I think I'm just gonna color it to give it like a really hand-drawn look.
Yeah, this
Like
is awesome.
it's
Do you
really
feel like you use this technique frequently, or is this something that's kind of like newer for you? What do you think?
maybe like I've started doing this maybe in the past 6 months or so.
Okay.
I mean, it's evolved. I've been using like the threshold tool and like displacement maps and stuff for a while now. I think I learned about that on YouTube like a while back for like
Mm,
text
hmm
recognition.
hmm
But yeah,
Where do you
yeah.
feel like you find your tips the most? Like, is it like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube? Like, do you seek them out?
Probably TikTok and Instagram now with like just the short form stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea you could
It's
do
crazy.
something like that so efficiently, you know?
Right. It's funny how like we make the stuff, we make the tips,
Yeah.
and we learn from the tips. Like it's like
Yeah.
a full circle moment. Like I can't tell you how many times I've like gone to Fiorella's page and be like, oh, okay, that's how you do that. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
if you
same.
if you guys don't know who we're talking about Fiorella Doodles, someone that may or may not be on the show at some point potentially. So look out for that. But abs- yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
feel
like
like
that.
I'm,
Sorry, go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like I'm not like the best with tips. As you can see, like I'm like jumping to the help tab and using, I think I'm okay with keyboard shortcuts, but like I don't know. I just see other people sharing their tips, and I'm like, I had no idea I could do that, and I've been, designing for like years now.
Oh no, I mean, I think that it all comes from what's the word I'm looking for? It all comes from like other people. Like I'm not sitting here like exploring the apps. Like I'm gonna be sorry, everyone,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
I'm not like delving in to like try to break Illustrator or break Photoshop, right? Like that's not
yeah,
really my MO personally.
mm,
But I am someone that I really enjoy learning from other people. So,
yeah,
getting seeing other creators kind of cover this and trying to cover it in my own way, I feel like is a bit more authentic because it's like learning and then spreading the knowledge that you've already learned. So don't worry if you're pulling tips because you saw somebody do it. I think a lot of people do that.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So same
I
as
know. I always,
reference, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always am like saving people's reels. I never end up coming back to them though, like saving people's tips and
Mm-hmm,
stuff,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm like completely forget about it. But it is good.
No, I definitely understand. It's so funny because this might sound vain. It's really not meant to sound vain. So sorry to
Mm.
the audience and chat, but um, one of the things that I catch myself doing is forgetting how to do something in Illustrator and then going back to my own video.
That's good though. I feel like that's good.
It's so ridiculous. Like
It's
using
so
your
fun.
own point of reference, it just goes to show that like full ADHD brain just
Yeah,
cannot retain any information possible.
I'm the
So
same. Yeah. That's so funny. I feel like it's funny you mentioned that because I actually like prepping for this call.
Mhm.
I made like a little page and it was all my own old
Oh,
illustrations. Let
nice.
me like pull from this in case I like freeze up,
That's so
for like
fun.
style reference. But I think it's good when you're in a position where you can like reference yourself because it shows you're like confident in what you do,
Absolutely.
I guess.
I think that also goes to show that you have like an established brand. We talked about that a little bit
Yeah.
earlier, maybe about 15-20 minutes ago. But
Mm.
establishing your brand, I feel like, is probably the hardest thing you can do as an artist because
Mm.
you're essentially, this might be a hot take, but you're essentially collaging everything that you love
Mm.
into yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of taking all of the influence and all of the nature and your like books that you read and the media
Mm.
that you consume and you're like I want this to reflect me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
it's
That's
kind of
funny.
tough. Like I don't know, I was reading this book that a friend suggested to me, and this is not like a plug or anything, so just if you want to read it. It's not sponsored. um it's called Steal Like an Artist, and it kind
Oh,
of
I've heard of it.
reframes the reference process, if that makes sense, like or the looking at work and respecting artists in a way, because I think especially in graphic design and in illustration you see a lot of overlap, and I think it's
Mm.
very easy to feel like maybe we're doing too little or maybe we're doing too much, and that line is so hard to like not cross or cross, and you end up kind of just not even touching it, if that makes sense, in terms of like
Mm.
looking at other people's stuff or referencing a design that you maybe saw in a bookstore or something like that. I know a lot of people that are very afraid of that. And don't get me wrong, I know there's plenty of people that draw from their head, but this book talks more about, if say I want to draw like an apple, an orange, and a banana, maybe pulling from some like 1860s Renaissance paintings and also
Mm.
setting it up in my house, and then also looking at like Schoolhouse Rock, like if they're
Mm.
have some characters, like pulling from so many different places and trying to metabolize that information and create something that's your own thing.
Mm. I like that. Yeah, that's so good. It's funny you mentioned that because that's kind of what we did like in when I went to college. They did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that like in my illustration classes. They would like make us be like find an artist you like and like emulate, their style for like
Mm-hmm.
XYZ projects. So I think as long as you're aware you're doing it and like I don't know. I think it's a good process for learning.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think I at the end of the day it boils down to kind of just respecting people, respecting the
Yeah.
process. And I think many people have probably crossed that line in some capacity and had to
Yeah.
learn the hard way, but I think that it is a learning experience. It's one of those things that you can grow from, and you can
Mm.
learn to really just delve into things kind of in a different way. I and also too with like Illustrator and like with text to vector and things like that. These are new ways to kind of, in my opinion, have tools to kind of ethically start creating in a fun way that,
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of just unlocks this new way of discovering. I don't know, maybe.
Mm.
So,
Yeah. I think so. And I think like for example, like with this bear, looking at his map with the backpack, like you wouldn't be able to find a bear holding an object on Google. Like you
mm-mm,
just wouldn't be able to find that reference image. So it's like, and I think if you're making it into your own style and all of that, like, I don't know, I think it's totally fine personally.
100%,
And I
100%.
just think it's a really helpful tool.
Absolutely. I love how this looks hand drawn. It's so sweet.
Okay.
This is so
And
cool.
now I might make this campfire title a smart object and then mask it out so the teddy bear is in front. Let's
Nice.
see.
Nice, nice, nice.
And I should layer, oh, I
Look at
should name
how
these.
nice and organized this layers panel is. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I feel like I'm getting a little confused, but I think we're okay.
I mean, the things are named and things are, and what do you call it? The some of the layers are turned off, so you're way ahead of where I'd be. I'd be like dragging it all around the artboard, making it like
Yeah,
really small, and I don't know, just different processes entirely.
yeah. Okay,
So,
where
so I'm curious to ask too, if you feel like sharing, what
hmm.
do you feel like this last year, 2024? What do you feel like has been the most fun project that you've worked on? The most what's the word I'm looking for? Fulfilling project you've worked on. And if
Hmm.
you feel like sharing, you don't have to. The most disappointing project that you've worked on.
Okay, let's see. Oh, that's tricky. I think the most fun project was that little like dollhouse shoot I mentioned because
Yes.
I think a lot of it was like just very outside of my comfort zone. I had never, I don't know, obviously you have to pay to rent the space and there's money involved and all sorts of camera equipment and I'm like obviously not a photographer by any means, so it was quite like intimidating that I was doing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was so fulfilling to like try something new and do that. So that was definitely the most fun, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the most disappointing, I wouldn't say it was disappointing, but it was a little, I guess, frustrating initially was I obviously won't like say what exactly,
Sure,
but it was
sure.
a brand sponsorship video. And I had like pitched the concepts to them and they had approved the written concepts and everything was good to go. And I felt like I was pretty clear with the written concepts. They were like, everything sounds great. And then I filmed the video and delivered it back to them. And they were basically like, wait, 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 this is not like what we were envisioning at
Oh,
all. And
it's
so
the
like I had
worst.
to scrap the whole video. And I made
No.
like cute little animated title treatments for it and like spent a long time. Um, and their points were valid because it was mostly a video of me talking to the camera. And they
Mm-hmm.
were like, oh, we want to see more like art process or whatever. I don't know. It was just a miscommunication, but it was a little disappointing. I was like, oh,
That's
dang.
frustrating.
Yeah. But then the second video I sent to them, they approved right away. So I was like,
Oh,
okay, I
nice.
think this was just a miscommunication and it ended up going well and I really like the brand, so it was all good. But a
That's
little bit
great.
disappointing initially.
Yeah, as it goes.
Yeah. And then what was the last one? The most fulfilling, was it?
Fulfilling, yeah. So maybe the hardest work or the least hard work, and make you feel gratified with what you did.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
It's hard being put on the spot, so no pressure.
Yeah.
You maybe feel fulfilled from all the work that you do.
I think this wasn't work that I guess it technically was work, but I I think going to Adobe Max was probably the most fun. It
mm,
technically was like a work trip, I guess you could say.
definitely.
Just being able to like catch up with everybody and hear what everybody's up to. It's just so like motivating and inspiring to talk to everybody. And although it wasn't like specific tangible work, I would still consider it to be work. And it was just like I always just feel so motivated when I leave Adobe, and
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a really fun time.
I think that's a shared experience, and it's like, you know, partly because we're being invited out by the company that we're, I guess, using every single day, but also like seeing so many friends and like
Yeah,
connecting with so many people that you follow is
yeah,
just insanity. Like, it's just wild to be like, oh yeah, I saw you the other day, like on TikTok, and now we're friends, or Instagram, and we're
yeah.
friends. Like, it's just, it's so cool.
I
I
know
hate
it's
to
so fun.
cut the cuddly vibes, but we're just approaching 7.5 minutes left for your
Okay,
drawing. But
that's cool.
I think we're making really good progress. Like, you're already,
I think
the line work looks great. It's looking
okay.
amazing.
I will. Let's place a texture one.
Oh, nice.
Let's see.
How are you feeling about your progress so far? Do you feel a little rushed, or do you feel like it's flowing pretty well?
Um, it's definitely sloppier than my normal work, but
Oh,
I think the overall like thought is there, you know?
mm-hmm. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have thought sloppy, but you know, we all have a different eye. I think it
Yeah,
looks super clean. I love it. I love it. I love it.
that's good. Okay. I don't know if this translates on screen, but I'm
Oh
adding a
yeah,
little
we can see it. Yeah, when you zoom
flow.
in.
Let's see. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
see like in the black areas.
that's awesome. Looks like it's like a colored pencil, kind of like
Yeah,
charcoal. Like that's
yeah.
sweet.
And then I would normally like add some texture. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. Okay, that's campfire. I'll call this exploring.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, there we go. So this is what I do for the displacement. So I always do the same, both horizontal and vertical. And then you just have to add a textured PSD file, and then it'll
Okay.
displace to that. So you can kind of
Oh,
see
interesting.
that there.
Yeah, this is
And
cool.
then, yeah. And then I kind of have some different vibes going on here. This feels a bit hand drawn than this, but I think if we add displays to everything, it might tie it together a little. Let's see.
We're experimenting. We've got some experimenting time.
Yeah. I think
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
there we go.
there we go.
Okay.
Okay. So we got displays there,
It's
there.
definitely giving that, like, it's tying it all together, like the little fuzz around it, like overprint
Yeah.
of it. I like it.
Maybe add a little bit less displacement to the bear. Okay.
Nice. Nice.
Cool. Okay. And then I might add like a paper texture to the background.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll do that. Let's see.
absolutely.
So I got like a ton of paper textures. I might just do like an off-white. Let's
Love it.
see.
We're approaching about the 5 minute mark, so you got time to kind of lock some stuff in. You know, color for me, I'd be panicking, so maybe it'll be a no color design, you know, whatever feels
Actually, that's a
comfortable.
good point. Maybe we'll do one color and then all the line work can be a different color.
Okay, I love it.
Let's see. Let's group
I'll kind of give
there.
you some periodic updates just for everyone to know the number that's being displayed on screen right now. Unfortunately, Sarah can't see, but where I'm trying to kind of keep us all up to date and going. I like this. This is cute.
Yeah.
It's a
The
really
vector,
nice.
the text in here is still white, so it's technically clipping to the white as
Gotcha,
well,
gotcha.
which is like, I gotta fix that. So I'm doing a green just because it's like campy vibes.
Absolutely. Outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then maybe I'll add just like one accent color if we have time, and then
Yeah,
can fix that little blurb at the bottom later.
absolutely. Looking at about 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
We're down to the home stretch. Like
I
this is the
know.
crunch time. This is where it gets crazy. I like the color choices though. Like you're
Yeah.
definitely got an eye for it. I feel like I run through like 800 different text like or color variations cuz I'm just like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
So,
it's tricky. I do
absolutely.
like more. mute, not mute, I guess kind of muted. I think I gravitate a little more to more muted colors.
Hmm. I've been messing around with some Rizzo printing lately. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, yeah. I think you might have told me that
Yeah,
potentially. That's so cool.
it is a really fun way to work with constraints, and it makes things a lot less stressful. Oh my goodness. It's
Oh, yeah. A
crazy.
lot less stressful?
Yes, because you're
Oh,
only working with 7 colors, 8 colors,
oh
and
yeah. Okay.
essentially the way that you mix colors is you mix based on percentages. So if I wanted to
Hmm.
make orange, you'd add 20% of red on, in Illustrator and 60% of yellow. Like you
Okay.
just change the opacity. It's so fun. Like I really enjoy it. And you get these really weird textures. I think your art would be very like I guess fitting for this
Hmm.
overprint style too. Like just kind of hand printed, kind of like a little bit of overlap displacement vibes. It's cool. It's fun.
Hmm. That would be cool. Yeah, I love. Is it pronounced risograph? Is that how you pronounce
I
it?
think so.
Okay, I
I
love
might be
risograph.
wrong. Chat could
I don't know. I'm
correct
not
us if they
sure.
need to. I love the orange. The orange is giving very like fiery vibes.
Okay,
Like
cool.
I love it. So,
Yeah, I don't always do like full color anyway, so
mhm.
I just have an accent color.
Hey, I love the accent color. We're approaching about a minute and 50 seconds.
Oh my
So we're getting to
gosh.
the home stretch, but we're locking it in. Like coming around to the end. Like I this looks finished to me, And once we get those last two
Yeah.
letters finished up, I love it. I love like the brush you're using because again, it looks very like colored pencil, and I just think about like if you were to print it, it would just look amazing. Just like so
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, yay. I know I need to fix this little thing, but not sure if I have time for that, but
That's
we can
okay.
we can just imagine it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Honestly, I think it looks amazing. I think
Yay.
that you worked well within your time. We have about a minute left, so if you want to add something or if you feel like you're at a stopping point, that is totally fine too. How are you feeling? What do you think?
I think this is a good stopping point. I'm pretty proud,
Perfect.
honestly, for the time given. I'm like, this
Absolutely.
is good. Yeah.
Absolutely. You should be proud. 50 minutes, and you took a concept that you heard this morning and turned it into this. I think it's amazing. I think that you did an amazing job and you scored some points. A
Yay.
lot of points, I think.
Nice.
And I think you did honestly fantastic. We'll display your points up on screen right over here. Let me go ahead and switch over to a different timeline. There we go. Um, yeah, points are displayed up here. Your grand total, of course. And and yeah, I mean, I had a ton of fun today. How was the overall experience? Like, did it feel a little too stressful? Did it feel good? Like, did it flex some thoughts?
I think it was good. I think it's nice to like not be so hung up on, obsessing over the details. So I think it was a good like thing to practice for sure.
Sweet. I'm glad that it kind of felt like a little bit of a practice and some fun style design. The most important question is, did you have fun today?
I did had fun. I had a lot of fun.
That's a point. We got a point
Yay.
on the board. We did finish the design, so that's another point on the board as well. Of course, we already had the full, but we're running through it as we go. Yeah, I think this is a great stopping point for us. I hope that those that are watching in chat really enjoyed this. Obviously, we're kind of in the infant stages of this show, of this kind of game show. So if there's any tips that you have that might make this a little bit better, a little smoother, of course, leave them in the chat or in the comments. Sarah, do you want to plug yourself and let people know where people can find you?
Yeah, so I'm Sarah and Misk, a stop or a full stop separating. So Sarah dot and dot Misk on Instagram and TikTok.
Amazing, amazing. And I, again, love your work. I'm so thankful that not just as a friend, but also as like a little show partner that you're coming on and kind of getting to do some fun stuff with us today and get to be a part of this little show that we've got going on. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was so awesome.
Of course, of course. Okay, see you guys later on the next episode. Bye.